Mr. Vasquez. It is 5:30. I see all board members are on, Dr. Durant, and 3 of the speakers are on. So you may proceed when ready.
All right, thank you very much. Treasurer, I call to order the Toledo Public Schools regular board meeting on Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. Treasurer, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Eichenberg.
Here.
Mrs. Gherkin.
Here.
Mrs. Barwig.
Here.
Mr. Vasquez.
Here.
Ms. Barnes.
Here.
Next is the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next is the mission and vision statement, Dr. Durant.
Toledo Public Schools' mission is to produce competitive college and career-ready graduates through a rigorous curriculum across all grade levels by implementing Ohio New Learning Standard with fidelity. Our vision statement is to strive to be an A-rated school district whose graduates are college and career-ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Durant. Welcome everybody to our board meeting. And at this time, Dr. Durant, I'd like to turn this part of the agenda over to you for presentations.
Yes, we will turn the presentations over to Ms. Mazur. Take away.
Thank you, Dr. D. Good evening, everyone. I have good news to share tonight, starting with 2 TPS high school students, both who are also members of SMARTS, have been named to the Ohio Attorney General's Team Ambassador Board. We would like to congratulate Jaden McMullen, a senior at Start High School, and Rayvon Brazil, a senior at Scott High School. The Teen Ambassador Board is an opportunity to meet students from across Ohio who are interested in law and government and work with the Attorney General's office to solve problems and provide suggestions on vital issues facing the citizens of Ohio. A virtual kickoff meeting was held on August 18th. From there, the students will be invited to participate in other events and virtual meetings conducted by the Attorney General's office. Both students were asked to tell us why they were interested in being considered for this esteemed board, and Jaden replied that he plans to become a physician and focus on family medicine here in Northwest Ohio when he graduates college. He applied for the Team Ambassador program because he wants to see change in Ohio, especially in schools. He believes the current system isn't working and wants to make changes that ensure every student has the opportunity to succeed. He also hopes to speak with lawmakers about helping our cities grow by getting people involved and making them feel safe. When asked what his favorite part was about being involved with SMARTS, he said working with students and helping to build a welcoming community for Toledo Public Schools. He feels SMARTS has spread positivity and a sense of belonging across the district. Rayvon said he's involved with SMARTS and has been since the beginning, and he has been proud to present to the board policy committee on the exam exemption policy. After graduation, he plans to study fashion marketing and helping his community the best way he can. He applied for the Team Ambassador program because he feels he can make a difference in his home state and this will also help him introduce ideas for a different line of possible work. When asked about his favorite thing with SMARTS, he said helping his peers and giving advice to the board about things that matter to him and to other students. We'd like to congratulate both Rayvon and Jaden for representing Toledo Public Schools on this state level board.
Thank you.
Next, thank you, Mr. Vasquez. Next, we'd like to congratulate Ms. Abbey Mezinko, a teacher at Chase STEM Academy. She has been selected for the 2020 Ohio Council of Teachers of Mathematics Northwest District Elementary Teacher of the Year. Ms. Mezinko was chosen for this award because of her dedication to her students and her commitment to ensuring they understand the math principles she presents. She also makes mathematics fun and engaging for her students. Her hard work will be celebrated at a virtual awards ceremony in October. We've asked her to send video and photos so we can all enjoy that after that event. And we have one more bit of good news. Ms. Mona Al-Hayani has been chosen as the Ohio History Teacher of the Year by the Gilder Lehrman Foundation. She was recognized for her commitment to teaching American history in a way that is both creative and engaging to her students. The Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History was founded in 1994 and is the leading nonprofit organization that is dedicated to K-12 history education while also serving the general public. Its mission is to promote the knowledge and understanding of American history through educational programs and resources. Ms. Al-Hayani is the second TPS teacher to receive this prestigious award. You might remember that just last year, Mr. Joe Boyle received the same award. So I would say we're pretty blessed to have them both working for Toledo Public Schools. And then we have one retiree for the evening. Congratulations to Donna Finley. She is retiring with 28 years. She was a paraprofessional at Bowser High School.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Mazer. Some great things going on at Toledo Public Schools. Next on the agenda are community comments. Treasurer, will you please recite the policy?
If you give me one moment, I need to pull that up.
Sure.
Where'd that go? Find it in the policies right now. Here we go. The board values the input of all citizens and community members regarding all aspects of the district. The board understands that education is the center of all community issues and activities, and that input is important because it allows the board to hear all views on all matters. In order to ensure a quality public comment portion during board meetings, all citizens and community members who are scheduled to speak before the board shall abide by these general rules. 1, each speaker has 3 minutes unless modified by the board president. 2, the time will be displayed for the speaker and the public to see. The treasurer will announce when time has expired. 3, any questions that speakers would like responses to should be submitted in writing, and the board president will secure answers within a reasonable time frame, normally 7 to 10 days, depending on the amount of research required to provide a comprehensive response and the time-sensitive nature of the question. 4, board members will not engage in policy dialogue with speakers, but will use their established committee format to have substantive dialogue. The public comment section is the opportunity for the board to listen to all citizens and community members and make contact with speakers following the meeting for individual feedback and questions. The general guidelines are established as a way to provide the maximum opportunity for board members to listen to citizens and community members and provide an organized and structured procedure for feedback that will help our students and families.
Thank you. First, before we start, I'd like to offer the board's sincerest apology about what happened last board meeting, where we tried to have community comments, and we had some technical difficulties. So I offer that apology. But at this time, for community comments, the board calls upon Ruth Leonard.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and good evening to all board members of the Toledo Public School District. I'm writing today to implore you to make a change in the way schools are run in this district. Since the 1999 school year, TPS has created a relationship with the Toledo Police Department that has cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it has not created a safe space for students. As a former employee of TPS, I have witnessed students spiral out into a rage only to calm down when approached by someone who has built a relationship based on trust and mutual respect. I've also witnessed situations where law enforcement was called and created fear and panic. Schools should be a place for fear and panic. Schools should not be a place for fear and panic, and yet they are an everyday occurrence. Yet for thousands of students, the siding of the school board with police officers creates those very feelings. I'm also speaking with you today to encourage you all to use this opportunity of COVID to create an opportunity for any school resource officer or CPO to receive some form of training in order to be certified in a level of mental health, so that they are not only showing up for the students on a daily basis to eventually be eliminated as weapons carrying members of the school system, but they can function as mental health experts for the students. I am also here today because I received an odd phone call yesterday from a friend who works with TPS, and she stated that there was a situation that involved some Black Lives Matter apparel, and there was a situation that went between themselves and another school teacher, and it made me wonder about the school district's resolution for educational and social injustice, and how does that fit into the framework for just general apparel for teachers, and if it's one thing's allowed and another thing is not, or Black Lives Matter is considered social justice and equality. If that's the case, if the school board can make a statement on that. And my last request would be to have some form of counseling or any form of mental health that can be attributed and given to students via the e-learning options that have been made available. I know that there is a lack of counselors that are available throughout the school district. I believe for some of the elementary schools, they have to share one guidance counselor for every 2 or so buildings. And so if there was a way that the guidance counselors now, while you all are working to figure out everything else going on with COVID, if there could be some emphasis put on students' mental health that can be included in their curriculum as well. And with that,
Thank you. Thank you very much for your comments. Next, the board would like to call on Megan Anthony.
I've not seen Megan Anthony on the list. We have Steve DeMuth and Takesha Grant are on the list. She was on the list, but on the Zoom call here. So,
Okay, then let's move down to Steve DeMuth.
okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for letting me speak about research on police and resource officers in schools. My name is Steve DeMuth. I'm a professor in the Department of Sociology at Bowling Green State University. and I'm a criminologist by training. I also have a department colleague, Dr. Tom Mowen, who is a leading expert on this issue, and I highly recommend the book, The Real School Safety Problem by Aaron Kupchik, in which he has a chapter. We know quite a bit about what does and what does not make schools safer. Police officers and school resource officers do not make schools safer. There's no evidence in the empirical literature that placing police or school resource officers into schools prevents or reduces school shootings. Most research shows that school security measures, including police and SROs, do not decrease offending or victimization, and students are safer in schools with fewer security measures. But we do know that there are many negative consequences about having police or SROs in schools, and this is especially a problem for students of color. Common misbehavior is more likely to result in arrest when police and school resource officers are in schools because they tend to escalate responses and it tends to contribute to the school to prison pipeline. Sad reality is that school security measures can fundamentally change the atmosphere of a school. They cause anxiety, fear, stress, and even hostility among students. And increased police and SROs are related to decreased extracurricular participation, lower academic performance, decreased test scores, increased school dropout, and diminished mental health. And it tends to hurt the relationships between students and teachers. My point in presenting this evidence is not to blame police. Police serve an important function in our society. Police have a difficult job to do and are often overburdened and lack resources. And certainly police want to help create safe schools, but we have to consider the scientific evidence on the topic. But this research does present some good news, which is that there's a considerable amount of research that shows that the best ways to increase school safety are to empower and support teachers, provide access to counselors, involve parents and family members, and maintain an atmosphere that focuses on education and not punitive punishment and security. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Mr. Stick-Schulte, I think you said Takesha Grant is on the list.
Correct. Yes.
I called Takesha Grant for her comments.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me again. My name is Takesha Grant, and I'm the mother of James Grant. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comments to the board again. I asked for the removal of police and resources officers at the TPS at your last meeting. I asked that you replace officers with counselors because children deserve to be cared for, not to be threatened. I'm still waiting on you to take action on this. Today, I want to talk to you about my son's academics. I have worked very hard to help Jay succeed in school. Jay is a very smart kid, and I want him to achieve his highest dreams of becoming anything he wants. Jay has come a long way, and he has been making great progress. I don't want it all to be lost. TPS has been closed since March. I'm sorry. Jay is a student with special needs, and he needs specialized services and education. He cannot achieve academically with just paper packets. But I cannot send James back to school buildings in the coming year because he will not be able to wear masks all day due to his asthma. James deserves the best education service to succeed at home. In order to succeed and learn, James needs three things: a virtual learning classroom that includes interaction with teachers on a regular basis, as well as supplies to help him study at home. James needs a physical desk and chairs to study on, and he needs receive live expressions that allow for conversation and feedback with his teachers for at least 60 minutes a day. I know that I am not alone in my request for live expressions for my child. I know that I am not alone in needing a desk and chair for my child. I know I am not alone in needing a reliable hotspot for my child to access schoolwork. I am here to ask you to ensure that all children in Toledo have the best access and and the best education. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Next on our agenda, if there are, Mr. Schulte, let me ask first, do we have any of the other, do we have the other two people on the call?
I've looked at the list and I do not see them on this Zoom call.
Well, let me call out their names just in case, okay?
Yes.
We're looking for, is it Deloy Smith? And who was the other one, Mr. Schulte? There was the other one.
Megan Anthony.
Megan Anthony. Are either one of those individuals hearing this or on our call here? Okay, I don't think so. So we'll go on to the next thing on the agenda, and that is organizational input. Do we have anyone from the Parent Congress?
Not that I can tell.
No one we can identify from Parent Congress. Okay. How about from TAAP?
Yes, Mr. Ramirez is on.
Mr.
Yes.
Ramirez, thank
Yes,
you
sir.
for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I missed you guys. It's been a while. So I'm glad that we have access and can communicate. So I appreciate it. First, I want to thank our administrative employees and staff that have been working diligently. You would think that not having kids in school since March and delaying our start of kids, that the job would be easier, but it has definitely not been. I knew that I'm getting calls. People are stressed already, and we haven't even brought kids in the building. So it is a new world for all of us. I do appreciate the work that's being done at the board office and what's being done at the school buildings to try and make sure that we do things safely, and we're trying to get things out. And that's my concern, is the distribution coming up that's scheduled for August 31st, that we're all in this together, and we all help support the learning of kids and giving them what they need to have to be successful during this virtual time. So I don't think anybody's happy that we're having to do this, but I do want to say that we all need to be on the same page and how we distribute materials and how we work with our families and students through this process. So that's all I have for now. I thank you, and thank you for the work that you're doing through this time.
Thank you, and thank you for everything that you're doing. Is anyone on from TFT?
Vasquez, Delois Smith has joined the call. I do not know if you want to go back or not. I'm just letting you know that she has joined the call.
Sure. So if the organization, can you make that transition, Mr. Schulte, to have her comments?
Yes.
Okay. Then let's let her in and listen to her comments.
Okay.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Delois Smith, and I have a child that go to Scott who has an IEP, who just started getting things together. I mean, we finally got this together, and then this happened. I'm a little disappointed in how the communication is going with the school, because I got calls, but it's like they leave a message and it's a recording. So I'm not really understanding what's really going on. So Bianca never got her Chromebook. But Bianca is, one of her disabilities is anxiety. So she having issues with the paperwork. She need to be, speak to a teacher on a everyday basis. So I was asking if she can do like a video chat with a teacher, because she had a teacher who called her once or twice, Miss Black. She was very excited about that. We don't have a desk, and we didn't get the Chromebook or nothing that we needed because there was bad communication. They had my phone number. For some reason, they was calling my 23-year-old phone, leaving messages that I never got. So I'm really lost on what to do next. So That's me. I do appreciate everything that they do. Dr. Smith did try to call. We didn't understand nothing that was said. And she tried to bring the phone to me. He didn't even have the time to wait to let me get on the phone so he could explain to me what to do. So I'm so lost about this school year. And Bianca has really bad anxiety. She won't go into a classroom. So I do need her to graduate. This is her last year of school. So I do appreciate everything. And it's just all bad since all of this stuff happened this year. So I'm really confused on how we're going to get her to complete school. I want her to do a live chat with a school teacher every day because so she can get back caught up because I'm not even sure how far she is behind now. She haven't did nothing but that school packet, that one school packet since this happened.
Okay. Dr. Durant, you're on this call, and
Yep.
we have our staff. Make sure we get
What
this.
we could do is if Ms. Smith can provide her number to Mr. Dexter, you could have Ms. Gretchen give her number. We will have someone contact her directly. I will also work with Mr. Gant to put a video out to put an example, because this is a second call, but there is no more package. Every child will have the assigned teacher classroom that they'll have direct instruction from a remote aspect. So there'll be a face-to-face teacher every day during the remote learning. So I wanted to make sure. So we'll do a video on that so parents can get an example, because some are thinking it's packaged, and I thought we may not have been as clear as we could have been that, no, this is direct instruction from a teacher from a classroom to the students within their own homes. So
Yeah.
she will get that direct instruction. We just need to get your number, Ms. Smith, so we can call you to make sure that we get a date for you for your Chromebook.
Yeah, I really appreciate Ms. Smith. I really appreciate your very sincere and genuine plea. So, well, we're really shouldn't have too much of a conversation here, but let's make sure we get her information and we follow up on her concerns. I really appreciate your giving us feedback, and I really appreciate your interest in your child and our student. We share that sincerely. Mr. Sexualty, where are we at?
We are at organizational input from AFSCME.
TFT. Did we have anybody from TFT?
I have not seen anybody on the list from TFT, but AFSCME has Miss Bailey on, so if she would like to speak.
Yes.
I would like to say, obviously, good afternoon. It's nice to be back as part of Toledo Public Schools representing our AFSCME workers. Obviously, I worked at TPS for about 14 years. So it's a pleasure and a privilege to be back being able to work with everyone. So I look forward to it. And thank you so much for the invite.
That takes us to comments by the board. And let me start with my comments, and then maybe people can follow along. I just want to say congratulations to everybody who we had a presentation, all of our students and our teachers, and it just shows the fantastic things that are going on at Toledo Public Schools. And congratulations to everyone who is involved in helping them and supporting them. And I know that some of us as board members have been involved in supporting the students and our teachers. So I just want to congratulate everybody at this time. Other comments from the board?
Yes,
Ms.
Mr. Vasquez.
Ms. Varwick.
Thank you. I would also like to offer my congratulations to Jaden and Rayvon for the Teen Ambassador Board. I think that's exciting. I'm thrilled for them, and it's really a great opportunity to showcase leadership. I would also like to congratulate Ms. Mezinko and Ms. Al-Hayani. Again, we have rock stars in our district, and I'm so thrilled that for both of them. So congratulations to them. Another great example of what our staff does here. And then of course, congratulations to our lonely retiree, Miss Finley. Congratulations. That's it's exciting to be able to retire after all those years. I would also like to thank our staff, our teachers and administrators, our families, our students. You know, we're in trying times right now, and we are all working to make the most out of this horrible situation. So I just applaud your patience. I know it is overwhelming at times, some of the work, but thank you for what you do each and every day. It does make a difference. And hopefully at some point, we're going to get back to a situation where we can see each other in person and not have to physically distance or wear a mask and, you know, hug each other, right? Wouldn't that be nice to be able to do some of those things? So thank you for what you do each and every day. I would also like to thank, and I know he's not on the call, but Max Lawnberg. He's a journalist from Cincinnati Enquirer, and he did a story on, or investigative story on the Ohio Ed Choice vouchers, and found that public schools overall outperformed private schools, and yet $250 million was spent by taxpayers. So I just want to applaud the effort of journalists that are out there writing stories that are meaningful and make a difference. And that story in particular showed graphs, and it really showed the effect and the impact that the dollars that are taken from public schools and spent on the voucher system, voucher program, there's really no meaningful results. So just want to put that out there. I highly recommend everyone to read it. It's Cincinnati Enquirer's. You go on their site, you can find that article. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to go down the list, and if you have comments, you have comments. Mrs. Eichenberg, do you have any comments?
Yes, of course I do, Mr. Vasquez. First, I would like to start, like my peers, and congratulate Jaden and Rayvon. What an exciting thing to be an ambassador at a state level. Very, very impressive. You know, the smarts kids just continue to amaze me. And the great thing is so many different types of students are involved in that program that I think it really gives us as a board a great insight into what our student body looks like at the high school level. And we really, really appreciate their honest feedback. We learn some things every time they hold a meeting. So additionally, I want to just, I forgot our rockstar teachers, of course, Mrs. Allen, Ms. Mezinko, to be recognized by another set of state groups. Very impressive. You know, at this point, Toledo Public Schools has so many impressive people in it that I almost expect to hear these things at every meeting, but that does not make them any less impressive. We have a great set of staff and administration who make things happen for a great set of students. So couldn't be more TPS proud there. I did want to also go over just a couple of things that I know some people might tune into these meetings now that they can see them on YouTube. And maybe they've not gone out to our social media sites or haven't seen the videos posted at tps.org. Very easy to get to and accessible about back to school. And just reiterate, you know, the schools call, to my knowledge, and I know Dr. Durant will correct me if I am incorrect, the schools will call the first number they have on file with automated messages to try to get a hold of you. And also that's the phone number that a teacher would call this week, because teachers at all of our schools this week are calling families to try to set up times to pick up Chromebooks. I know I have 2 students in the district. I was contacted for one today. And I'm sure I'll be contacted for the other one in the next few days. That's happening this week. So everybody will get a Chromebook who needs one. And if you as a family don't have internet access, we would work with you on a hotspot. So I just want to remind families of that and take that opportunity here in the board comments. And those things can be picked up next week before we start school on September 8th, so that you can figure out how to log on, which can be a little bit tricky, and you can ask for help before the school year starts. Our staff are in offices. You can call your local, your neighborhood school or whatever school your student is signed up at. They are there. So if you think maybe we have the wrong phone number on file, absolutely give us a call. A human being will help take that information from you and update that. So just my little plug for helping people understand the logistics, because it is complicated and it is different this year. As a parent, I know, you know, I'm having to kind of keep track of a lot of different things because it isn't like normal. And we so appreciate the patience of parents, and we understand that, you know, we're going to do better than we did in the spring, mostly because in the spring, we were pinch hitting, and now we're going to play the full ball game. So I'm really sure that even though our staff is probably slightly in a panic right now because it is so different and everything they're doing this quarter is different, you know, they have put forth amazing efforts to try to pull this all together. As far as I can tell, talking to teachers, talking to administrators, I've really found that even though we might not all 100% know exactly how this is going to work, nobody knows that anymore, but we're going to do the best we can, and it's going to look a lot different from spring. So, you know, I think it'll be really good. Especially, you know, when we think about spring and how hard it was and how ad hoc it was, this is going to be much better. So I just kind of wanted to reassure the public about that. The other piece that I wanted to cover was just before we get into the consent agenda. I know that one of the things you see sometimes, if you're not familiar with how our board meetings work, is you'll see there's a committee that has no action items. So I say no action items in air quotes, doesn't mean that committee didn't do work. And I just wanted to specify that I am a member of the athletics committee along with Mrs. Farwig, and there has been a lot of talk about athletics and a lot of parent concerns about athletics and community concerns about athletics, and we definitely hear you. I did watch Mr. Gant's video that said, yes, we're somehow going to have a season, whether it's fall or spring. And I know that people underneath were like, so what's the answer? And I just wanted to say that those are things, you know, we're following the data and we're following the numbers, and those are things that aren't decided right now today, whether it'll be a late fall season or, you know, maybe kind of a spring season that overlaps. We know it's complicated if we have to move it out of the fall, but I just wanted to acknowledge to the community that, you know, that's still underway. Those decisions are still being looked at. And at some point there will be an athlete's parent meeting, sort of like, you know, in a Zoom format or Google Classroom format, so that you have access and can call in and hear some information. You know, I have a new high school athlete this year, and she was really excited to get started, and she was really disappointed to stop. So I totally understand. But of course, as a parent, I also care about the safety of my children and yours. And so I just wanted to put out there that a lot of work has been done, even if you don't see work here in our agenda today. So there will be more information, and I know it's difficult to be patient. We all want to know what's going on exactly right now, but to some degree, you, the community, decide what goes on next. Be safe out there. Try to avoid going to those holiday weekend parties. Backyard parties that people wander indoors at are the worst thing we can be doing right now. Our kids won't get to come back. They won't get their season this fall if we all go to those parties. You know, we turned down an invitation today as a family, and it's hard to do, but I want my student to come back to the building part-time. I want us to move to yellow. I have to do my part to make that happen. And that means turning down some personal invitations and not going to places where there might be 20 or 40 people gathered, wandering in and out, touching the same things, breathing closely as they talk with each other. You know, even it's hard. It's hard to deny ourselves those little social pleasures. But I would just ask again, as a board, we so want to see these things move forward, and we want our health department to feel like they can recommend that we can start to do these things in October, but we need your help to do that. So as parents, anything you can do, any members of the community, staff too, anything we can do not to gather in large groups, it will help slow. And we are continuing to do better as a county, but we have to do even better than we're doing right now. So please continue to be responsible as a community so that we can help you out better as a school district. Thank you.
You were
You're
muted.
on mute.
Thank you. Mrs. Polly Taylor Gherkin, comments.
Thank you. I want to piggyback on Mrs. Eichenberg's question. So what is the answer? And that has kind of been the theme of a lot of what's been going on, is what is the answer? And I am just going to put that plea out there again to families and staff. This is such a moving target. It is, it's maddening to think that we really don't know from 1 minute to the next, but we're taking new information every day and incorporating it into our decision making. So please continue to be patient with us as we build out this airplane at the same time that we're flying it. That said, I want to thank our administration and our cabinet for doing such an amazing job of causing TPS to be the leaders in the community on this safe return to school. The number of, I mean, it's just an unbelievable number of details, and every time you think you have something figured out, one little thing starts the house of cards, right, falling until you have to go back and build it and then take another direction. So please know that we appreciate everything that you're doing, and to our families and our staff, continue to have patience for us. We only need to look around us, not too far in some cases, and some in across Ohio, to see that many districts are just now starting to make plans for what's going to happen. And we've been putting together a multi-tiered system of plans for months now. So hopefully we all just need to buckle up. I think it might get bumpier before it gets smooth. So please expect it to continue to be bumpy. As much work as has gone into this, I think is going to make a difference, so that when we really launch next week, we'll have we'll be able to respond rapidly to those bumps and detours along the way. So I want to continue to express my support to the administration for all the work you're doing, and plead with the public and staff for some grace on this difficult situation. I am going to put another thing on your plate, administration, as I just got done thanking you for everything you've done and trying not to add to it, understanding what you've been through and what you're continuing to go through to get us started. I would like to hear a timeline for the dive in the study into what we're going to do about having police in our schools. The topic has come up a number of times, and it's not the first time. Although the community is bringing it to our attention loud and clear, you can be sure that those conversations have taken place over the years to some extent, or one extent or another. So I'm sure we're going to employ not only our whole child department, but our equity, diversity, and inclusion department, and our security services department in that conversation. And so I would like to see at least an action plan for studying that topic and a timeline for making some recommendations to the board. I think that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you. That will go to Ms. Barnes for her comments.
First, I would like to point out, it's an echo. Can you hear me? There's an echo there.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
I would like to point out that the comments for the superintendent is not on the agenda. So I would love to hear if he has anything to speak on about. First, second, I would like to also, is it something I missed? Yeah, I didn't see it on the one I printed out. Second, I would like to give condolences to families of the youth that was taken from us over the past few weeks. My heart is with every one of you, and just know that we are here as TPS because they they was also a part of our family as well. And second or third, I would like for us to remember why we passed the resolution that we passed after George Floyd. With the last horrific news of Jacob Blake, another unarmed Black male shot by the police, we must continue to stand up for social justice by saying all Black lives matter and not using it as a trend. And I ask all the districts, I know this may be an uncomfortable thing, but we have to also understand where our children are at, both Black, brown, white, however you may see, and where our students are at and our teachers, that we can't shy away from this, and we can't keep making it a political thing when it's about Black lives. Thank you.
Thank you. The comments by the superintendent are in section 13, treasurer and board members. Again, traditionally at this point in the agenda, we've had it for board members, and then we do it again at the end of the agenda. So
I'm sorry, I only printed, some reason I only got to 6:16 on mine.
okay. All right. Well, as we go along, well, it's section 13. Did you get section 13?
No, when I printed it off online, I got down to 6.16.
Okay, we're gonna have to fix that. So we'll follow along with the agenda on the screen here. Any other comments? Thank you for your comments. Any other comments by the board? All right. If not, we'll go to the consent agenda. And that's section 6. And that's section 6.01 through 6.47. And the board members may request to pull an item from the consent agenda and move it to discussion if they wish. And then we'll discuss that in that section of the agenda. So what I will do is go over the consent agenda and name the chair and the co-chair. Item 6.01 through 6.05 is the Human Resources Staff Development and Training Committee. Chair is Polly Taylor Gherkin and co-chair is Stephanie Eichenberg. Items 606 through 618 is Finance and Business Operations Committee, and the chair is Bob Vasquez and co-chair Stephanie Eichenberg. Items 6.19 and 6.20 are the Community and Public Relations Committee. Chair is Stephanie Eichenberg and co-chair is Chris Varwig. Items 6.21 through 6.24 is the Board Curriculum Instruction and Academic Excellence Committee, and the chair is Polly Taylor Gherkin and the co-chair is Chris Varwig. Items 6.25 through 6.42 are Policy Committee. Chair is Sheena Barnes and co-chair Bob Vasquez. Item 6.43 is the Athletics and Student Activities Committee. There are no action items this month, but the chair is Chris Varwig and the co-chair is Stephanie Eichenberg. Item 6.44 is the Family and Community Engagement Committee. No action items this month, but the chair is Bob Vasquez, co-chair Chris Varwig. Items 6.45 through 6.47 are approval of the board meeting minutes. And at this time, I'd request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Varwig.
Second, Barnes.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Treasurer, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Varwig,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Thank you all for that. Section 7. That is a section that consists of reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings and are provided here for information and reference. There's no action required. So we'll go to section 8. Section 8 is our discussion, is a section for discussion items. I'm not aware that we have any discussion items. Does anybody have anything that they want to put on 8.01? Okay. Not hearing any. That takes us to section 9, which are walk-ins. I'm also not aware of any walk-ins. So we'll go to section 10, which is the early childhood education action items. And I'll turn that over to Mrs. Gherkin and co-chair Sheena Barnes.
There are several action items, so if Dr. Allen is available to run you through those real quickly, it'd be great.
Sure. Item 10.
Dr. Allen, let us know if we can bundle those or if they need separate votes.
Okay. Item 10.01 is our annual refunding application. It is our plan for how to spend the money during this program year. That will need its own vote. Items 10.02, 10.03, 10.04 are contract amendments, allocating the CARES COVID money that Head Start had allocated to our grant. Those 3 items can be bundled into one vote. And item 10.05 is our annual early childhood education report. I encourage you to look at it. It's an overview of all of the work that we've done, and it does need a separate vote.
All right, we have some things we have to do. So first, we should consider 10.01, the refunding request. Do I have a motion for the refunding application?
Second, Gherkin.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, Treasurer, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Varwig,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Okay, now as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, if I understand it, 10.02 through I think it's 10.04 can be bundled?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Let's bundle those. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Varwig.
So moved, Eichenberg.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Varwig,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Thank you. Then Ms. Allen, is that 10.05, the annual report, also need to have its own vote?
That is correct, yes.
All right. Can I have a motion?
Varwig, so moved.
Barnes, second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Treasurer, you please call the roll.
Mrs. Eichenberg, Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Varwig,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Okay. Next, thank you, everybody. That takes us to section 11, which are early childhood education reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings, and they're here for information and reference. There's no action required. Section 12, do we have any childhood education walk-ins tonight?
We do not.
Thank you very much, Dr. Allen. And then section 13 are comments by the superintendent. Dr. Durant, do you have comments?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Just wanted to congratulations to the board. The Ohio Teen Ambassador to the board at the state was a true testament of leveraging your influence down there, as well as identifying things for the district to make sure that we're always involved in. So that's a true appreciation. And that's about the board partnership that we've set aside as goals. But I also want to make sure that, I'm not sure if Mr. Steckschulte was able to get out to March 18th was when we did our Moody bond rating presentation, which was a great presentation. I wish that could have been recorded, but it was a great presentation and everything that we've accomplished. But when we talked about accomplishments today, I'm adding those to the list that I put on in the presentation at that time. And the list is just extensive in regard to how many teachers of the year, social studies, art, the science, as well as treasurer of the year, as well as audit for the year, or 2 out of 3 years. I mean, there's just many things that to be TPS proud about, and I've been keeping tabs and tallying them up, but I keep them in the bond rating report. But I think I know Mr. Vasquez, you asked about us somehow making that public, so we need to discuss on really what we want to do in essence of presenting, because I thought we had a great review of that. So again, thank you, and TPS proud.
Thank you, Dr. Durant. Any comments by the treasurer?
Yeah, Dr. Durant, Mrs. Mazier and I are working on a press release for the, so that should be coming out hopefully by the end of this week. We should be able to get to that.
Great.
The other thing I'd like to report on, yesterday, the state of Washington Supreme Court struck down the CARES Act funding allocation to private schools, meaning that they've set a lot of chaos in motion now. But DeVos wanted to give more money to the private schools based on total enrollment versus just on poverty students. And they've struck that down. So now we were on the call with the Council of Great City Schools today, and no one really knows what's going to happen. But the benefit for TPS will be that, depending on how it all shakes out, is that we could see an increase in our CARES funding. So that may come in, but there'll be more information coming out on that as in the near future.
Mr. Steckschulte, that's great news, and keep us updated on that. You're right. I'm sure we haven't heard the last on that, but it's great news at this point. We'll take any good news we can get. So, any additional comments by the board? If you want to just indicate to me somehow, or just jump in if you have any additional comments.
Hello, me again.
Go ahead, Ms. Barnes.
I just really want to reiterate that Black Lives Matter is not a trend. And we have to make sure as a district, we are setting the bar high like we always do with other districts in our community, that we are definitely with our students, our teachers, and our district when the outcry for social justice is needed.
Thank you. Anyone else? You know, what I want to do is I just want to say again how overwhelmingly proud I am of my fellow board members, our treasurer, superintendent, all of our cabinet, everybody who's working on this. And I think it was a common theme with all the board members in their comments. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. There's a lot of work that goes on in the committees. We kind of run through the board meeting because the work is done before we actually get to the board meeting, so that we can take action on the work that was done. But when you consider all of the awards, all the representation from our staff, our students, I'm just so proud of TPS. And I think that really puts the TPS proud logo there, and we work on it every day. And I want to thank all of our staff, teachers, bus drivers, cafeteria workers. I can't list them all because I'll miss everybody. But I know that my other fellow board members really join me in thanking everyone during this really, really tough time. And we've made some decisions, and I just want to add that being a leader isn't always comfortable. It really isn't. But we all believe that we're doing the right thing in the decisions that we make, and we appreciate the recommendations from our administration. Do a lot of research and a lot of work on all of these items. So thank you again. And if there are no other comments, go to section. Go ahead, Mrs. Barwick.
I'm sorry, very quickly. I just want to remind everyone, and again, I know this is such a struggle, but at the end of the day, this board, over the course of my going on 7 years here, we truly are making student-centered decisions. And I applaud our board for continuing to do that. And while at a board meeting, not everybody always sees that, we do make those decisions within our committee structure. And so I applaud our board members, our administration, and those that participate in the committee structure, because we do listen to the community, we listen to the staff, and you know, and like I said, at the end of the day, we're leading the change, and we are student-centered decision makers. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vasquez?
Ms. Zeichenberg.
Just super quickly, I just want to reiterate in case anybody was listening in, you know, and only caught a little bit of this. If you are currently a family with a student at our schools, you should hear from us this week in order to pick up your Chromebook next week. If you have challenges with your internet access, you should be able to tell us that when we call you. If you have not heard from us, it may be that we don't have your proper contact information on file. So please, please, it is fine for you to pick up the phone and give your school's office a call. And if you're not sure what to do, go to tps.org, find the main phone number, and the main switchboard will help you. Now, all of the secretaries in the district are angry at me because their phones might ring a lot tomorrow, but they would rather get the most accurate information to contact your family than to have old information. So please, please, please be sure we know. It could be that your family has 4 phone numbers listed with us. We generally try the first one first, and sometimes it doesn't feel real logical which one's first. Somehow at some point, somebody said that should be the first number. We definitely want it to be the parent first number that you would call in an emergency. Make sure you know which is the first phone number we have on file for you. And all of our staff will understand what you mean when you ask that question, and they will get the right one in there for you if you call them. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next thing on the agenda is adjournment. So I would like a motion to adjourn.
So move, Barwig.
Second, Burn.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Gerken,
Yes.
Mrs. Varwig,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Thank you all. Meeting's adjourned. I know we're all going to talk tomorrow and just about every day in the future. So we'll all talk tomorrow. Thank you very much, everyone.
Have a good evening, everyone.